Hello ladies and gentlemen of quarantine, my name is Regulus and welcome to another 6 incredible games to play in 21:9 or ultra-wide. Before we hop into this video, I just wanted to mention that I've done a few different ultra-wide showcases in the past, so if your favourite ultra-wide game doesn't show up on this list, then there is a strong chance it's popped up in the past. Links to those previous videos will be in the description below. For those who are curious, I'm playing all these games on an ASUS ROG SWIFT 34-inch ultra-wide gaming monitor at 3440 by 1440 and using an RTX 2080 Super graphics card. And last but not least, make sure to leave a comment below regarding your personal favourite games to play in ultra-wide. Starting off the video with what could be considered one of the best looking games to date, and that game of course is Red Dead Redemption 2 on the PC. This game is based in 1899, which means it takes place during the Wild West era, and yes, you will be playing as a cowboy. This game has an absolutely huge open world, incredible attention to detail, from opening every small drawer and cupboard you loot, to horse testicle physics. That is all I will say on the matter. The biggest issue with this game is the performance. Even with my RTX 2080 Super, I wasn't able to run the game at max settings and had to drop the settings quite a bit to stay around 50 to 60 FPS most of the time. The loading screens can occasionally take absolutely forever, and once or twice the game loaded in, but my character and all other NPCs and horses were invisible for about a minute or two. The game can be quite slow at times, as it focuses on quite an accurate representation instead of the most enjoyable gameplay possible, but if you can get yourself immersed in the game, you won't even notice. The loading screens and cutscenes are sadly in 16:9, which makes the cutscenes look pretty terrible as they're already letterboxed by default. But there is a third-party fix that I found in the past for this, which seems to fix the problem most of the time. Overall though, this is definitely one of the best looking and awe-inspiring games out at the moment, and will take up a ridiculous amount of your time.
You need to stop. I'm warning you. I will kill you. Oh, sweet Jesus. Look what you've done. God help me. Look what we got here. Shite. Help me. God help me.
From a game with horses and revolvers, to a game with fast cars, hacking and drones, we move on to Watch Dogs 2. This game has a massive open world based in the San Francisco Bay Area, in which you can travel almost anywhere that you can see. I saw a large city area off in the distance at one point, which I assume was just a background, but after hopping in a boat and driving towards it, I realised it was just more of the massive game world to explore. This game heavily revolves around hacking everything in sight, from stealing money from bank accounts to changing traffic lights to cause crashes and collisions. The menus in this game are sadly 16:9, but the rest of the game seems to fully support ultra-wide, which includes all the HUD elements being on the edges of the screen. It's also a great looking game, but occasionally the frames seem to have sudden drops for about a second, causing the game to stutter and struggle, but then reverts back to staying above 60 FPS for most of the time. Next up, we'll take a look at a more linear, but still incredible looking game, and that game is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. This is a third-person action-adventure game, in which you'll find yourself exploring old tombs, environments, and more. The game is incredibly cinematic, with a lot of cutscenes and actions that feel like cutscenes. There is a constant mix of regular combat and exploring, and quick-time events. The loading screens of this game are in 16:9, but other than that, it appears almost everything else, including cutscenes, are 21:9. My frames stayed pretty consistently above 60 FPS at almost all times, with only occasional dips due to a lot of particle effects on the screen. This game also supports ray tracing if you have an RTX graphics card. I had occasional cutscene issues where the voice was out of sync, or at one point the cutscene just froze, but after rebooting the game, it didn't seem to happen again. This game is just a very cinematic and beautiful game to look at, which is only enhanced by Ultrawide. Now it's time for some racing, with Forza Horizon 4. This open world driving game lets you pick from literally hundreds of cars, from a Lamborghini to a VW Combi bus. You can speed around the world in any car you own, and take place in heaps of different races to win money, new cars, and more. There's also plenty of additional content, including Top Gear missions, a whole LEGO Championship section where all the cars are made entirely of LEGO, and heaps more. The game looks and runs pretty excellently in 21:9, but cutscenes and some menus are stuck at 16:9, while surprisingly, loading screens are in ultrawide. The world and cars in this game actually all look pretty incredible. The game also includes all 4 seasons, which means you'll be able to experience the world while snowing, raining, and more, which will all change the road and driving conditions as well. Even if you're not massively into cars, this game is still a great time, and it's included on Xbox Game Pass as an incredibly cheap and easy way to try it out.
In 400 meters, turn right.
The next game is also included on Xbox Game Pass, and that game is Gears 5. This game is honestly a massive surprise with how goddamn good it looks. I'd played previous Gears games on the Xbox 360, but never considered them incredible looking until now. There is plenty to do in this game, from the campaign, multiplayer versus modes, horde mode, and more. This game is both incredibly vibrant and dark and gloomy when it needs to be. There are massive set pieces all throughout the game, which give an awe factor, and I often found myself stopping just to admire the environments and worlds around me. The HUD correctly sits at the edges of the screen and doesn't take up too much room. The cutscenes are all in 21:9, but the loading screens are in 16:9. The game sometimes runs below 60 FPS in some busy and more detailed areas on max settings, while staying well above 60 in others. This game will honestly surprise the crap out of you with just how good it looks, especially in sexy ultra wide.
Set that down! Took him down.
Are you kidding me? That block thing doesn't just shut babies down, it turns them. What the hell, man?
Last but absolutely not least, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. That's right, the latest game in the long-running Call of Duty franchise finally makes one of these lists, because this game looks incredible. The game includes multiple modes, from campaign, multiplayer, special ops, and the new Battle Royale Warzone, which can actually be downloaded for free without having to purchase the rest of the game. Despite still being a relatively fast-paced game, it still feels a little more tactical and realistic than previous Call of Duties. The game has almost perfect ultra-wide support in almost all areas of the game. The only 16:9 bars I've seen are in the intro sequence of the Warzone game mode, which lasts for about 3 seconds. The performance is actually quite decent, besides a few areas or maps that seem to absolutely tank the frame rate. I'm looking at you, Piccadilly. The game also includes ray tracing for RTX graphics cards. So if you're keen to try it out, Download Warzone for free to see how it looks and runs, because this game is absolutely beautiful. Anyway, all of you in lockdown out there, I hope you enjoyed these incredible looking games to play in ultra-wide or 21:9. If you did, make sure to leave a like and also comment your favorite games for ultra-wide in case I've missed any, and maybe even hit that subscribe button if you like these type of videos. And peace out, everybody.
Jesus